más en la disco en la semana, como tú lo mueves, baby, ya no sé qué va a pasar. Solo tú bailas conmigo, pero no como amigos. Así todos quieren contigo, y en la disco eso se siente, ya. Caliente, caliente, callado que te voy a quemar. Caliente, caliente, te ruego te ponía a bailar. Caliente, caliente, cuidado que te voy a quemar. Caliente, caliente, te ruego te ponía a bailar.
He fichado que soy un teso, y que en la disco sabe que pongo el peso. La pista y allá quien quiere bailar, dime te pongo a volar. Que te vamos a mover, que vamos a mover. Esa pista está en el atardecer.
The following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you know it, I know it, we all know it. It does not matter who the host is, that is for sure. Anyways, here we go. Another round of this lovely thing that we have going on here known as the Rated R Safety Show. Anyways, today is Tuesday. Yes, it really is. It is Tuesday. It is Tuesday. Let's go for it. It is day 109th of the year. Only 256 days left to go. And we are broadcasting live and in living color from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida. No, seriously, that's exactly where we are as we're hanging and banging on this lovely morning, because it is morning where I am located. And we are, coming across that multiverse known as Safety FM. And then we are hanging and banging with those people that we do some stuff with.
Freeform radio never sounded this great. Or has it? Radio Big.
Okay, we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at RadioBig.fm. So how was it? How was the overnight for you? Did you do the Batman? Did you watch the Batman? Did you hang and bang and watch and do and all that kind of fun stuff? It was a big Batman kind of day yesterday for some people out there. So there you go. So let me kind of lay out some things real quick just for information's sake and information purposes. This is a show that we talk a little bit about everything. We talk about safety. We talk about the news. We talk about safety in the news and news and safety. That's kind of the first round of things that we do. We really lay heavy on the news at the very beginning of the portion. Talk about some safety stuff as we are taking a look and gander inside of there. And then we kind of package it all up and give it back to you and give us, for you to give us a whirl of things. The other side of the equation that lays out here is as follows. If you are hanging and banging with us, we prefer that you use our method to communicate known as call-in radio. That is callinradio.com. That will get you directly into our platform, into our servers, everything from that particular portion on. The other portion there is that if you do that, you have the opportunity of doing a message. You can also do a pre-record or however you deem it a little bit more simpler in regards to doing that. I do try to take a look around in regards to what's going on. So if I don't catch it, I apologize ahead of time. So that's for sure. So giving it to you that it's a Tuesday, let's talk about it from this particular format. top to the bottom, bottom to the top. Let's talk about the charts on what was going on inside of there. So in the charts of Musica, according to iTunes, at number 5 was Walker Hayes with AA. At number 4 was Jack Harlow with First Class. At number 3 was Lizzo with About Damn Time. At number 2 was Harry Styles as It Was. And at number 1, Morgan Wallen, Don't Think Jesus. I'm not even sure what that means, but that's what it says. And then taking a look at the other side of the equation, it goes like this. If you're looking at the world of Spotify, it goes in this format. Lil Nas X, That's What I Want, at number 5. At number 4 was Camila Cabello with Bam Bam featuring Ed Sheeran. At number 3 was Justin Bieber with Ghost. At number 2, Harry Styles, As It Was. And at the number 1 spot was Jack Harlow with First Class. So there you go. That's what's going on inside of the charts. Let's talk about what was trending last night. So let's talk about that. DJ K was trending on Monday after news of his death broke. Hashtag Boston Marathon was trending yesterday as runners competed in the 26.2 miles. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in a bit. On tax day, Senator Ted Cruz tweeted, "Abolish the IRS." Senator Elizabeth Warren tweeted out a reminder that Jeff Bezos paid zero in federal income taxes in 2007 and 2011. As with everything else, Dems blame Republicans and vice versa. Wow, that's a long tweet if you think about it. Hashtag Thor Love Thunder was trending on Monday after the trailer of the forthcoming Marvel flick dropped. The movie is scheduled to hit theaters come July. A listing for homes in Wisconsin was trending on Monday after landing on Zillow's Gone Wild Twitter account. So there you go. Head to Crib Notes to see why. So there you go. So yeah, if you want to take a look at that, I guess that would be the thing. So why would it be known as Zillow Gone Wild? That would be a very interesting thing. You would almost have to have the inside Iggy to know what was going on there for it to land in there. So here's the reason. It was featured on the Twitter account of Twitter Gone Wild for no reason than particular decor inside of the home. Only many walls throughout the house are signs featuring words as painting rooms that hang, for example, the kitchens that have that say eat. Entryway says welcome. Oh, well, I guess, it sounds very creative. Not really. Just the way that it goes. Anyway, so let's get into this. Let's get this thing started. Let's start talking and doing. Let's get you to my friends that will give you the world of news, and then we can go from there and do some other newsery things, because I think that that's always important for us to do that. So let's do segment 1 of the newscast, and we will go from there.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. It might not be a bad idea to still pack a mask before heading to the airport, as some places are keeping a mandate in place even after a court ruling. That's just fine with this traveler who says his mask wasn't coming off anyway.
I got underlying conditions, so I have to wear a mask, and my wife, she's going to wear a mask regardless. I think she wears a mask a bit. Sometimes
The TSA won't enforce the mandate anymore, but President Biden is encouraging travelers to still cover up as COVID cases rise again. Several airlines have ended the 2-year requirement, including United, Delta, Southwest, American, Alaska, and JetBlue. Same for Amtrak and now Uber as well. There are still no plans for President Biden to visit Ukraine, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki.
We would not outline from here or anywhere from the government who, if, and when for security reasons. So we wouldn't have any details to preview regardless.
Ukrainian President Zelensky told CNN he wants Biden to visit and believes he will. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson recently visited Zelensky in Ukraine's capital city of Kyiv. It's going to feel like winter in the Northeast today. Meteorologist Bill Cairns.
This snowstorm is no joke. Just saw a report of about 13 inches of snow near Oneonta, New York. That's kind of near where Cooperstown is located, the Baseball Hall of Fame. Binghamton, New York has 10 inches of snow on the ground, and we're now up to 170,000 people without power.
Forecasters say heavy snow will pile up across the region, disrupting travel in the mountains from West Virginia to northwestern New England. Gas prices are bouncing back after falling for more than 2 weeks. Mark Mayfield reports.
The AAA Stations Survey finds the national average price for regular is up 2 cents today to $4.10 a gallon. Arkansas and Georgia are now the least expensive places to fill up, with statewide averages of $3.71 a gallon. Missouri lost its lead after prices shot up 6 cents to $3.72 a gallon.
Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Ukraine's president says Russia's begun a major assault on the eastern Donbass region. China's ambassador to the US has defended Beijing's close ties to Russia and hit out at Western sanctions on Moscow. Boris Johnson said to apologise in Parliament later after being fined by police for breaching COVID rules. And the WHO Director General Dr. Tedros is on a 3-day visit to India to inaugurate a traditional medicine centre.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
Millions of Americans who left the labor force last year don't plan to return to work, or shops, or eating out. Mike Bauer reports.
While scientists are still studying the long-term effects of a COVID infection, results are just coming out about long-term social distancing.
Another day inside, don't have to do a thing. I love you, social distancing.
Millions of Americans who left the workforce last year plan to stay away indefinitely, signaling a trend of long social distancing, which is likely to affect White House and Federal Reserve policy. Their stance is partly due to persistent fears around the pandemic, with the dropouts most likely to be women, those lacking a college degree, and people working in low-paid sectors. I'm Mike Bauer.
Florida's Republican governor says he supports a controversial decision affecting math textbooks. Trey Thomas reports.
The Florida Department of Education recently rejected 41% of math textbooks that were submitted for approval. The books were rejected in part because they were said to contain references to critical race theory and social-emotional learning. Governor Ron DeSantis said yesterday that math is about getting the right answer, not how you feel about the problem. I'm Trey Thomas.
An Ohio University professor is getting a hefty payday after he sued his university over free speech. Brian Shook reports.
Shawnee State University professor Nicholas Merriweather refused to use the preferred pronouns of a student who identifies as female. He was rebuked by the university and Merriweather sued. Last week, Shawnee State paid Merriweather $400,000 to settle the case.
Soccer superstar Cristiano Ronaldo is mourning the loss of a child. His girlfriend gave birth recently to a girl, but her twin brother died. Ronaldo shared the news on social media, saying it was the greatest pain that any parent can feel. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com, brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Hey everyone, let's all stop what we're doing and take a moment. You see, every moment can be kind of special. But they could be loud moments, goofy moments, dorky moments. It doesn't matter. Because every time dads like us take a moment like that to spend with our kids, well, it's pretty momentous. So let's take a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Okay, self-implosion coming your way right now. Okay, so let's take it from the very top. 17 minutes past the top of the hour. You and I hanging and banging on this lovely, lovely Tuesday. So let's go from there. Anyways, taking it from the top of the hit list, a federal judge on Monday ruled that the CDC has exceeded its authority in requiring the travel mask mandate that requires passengers to wear a mask in airplanes and airports, on trains and buses. The ruling comes just days after the Biden's White House extended the mandate another 15 days, which was set to expire on May the 3rd. The White House has issued a statement Monday afternoon that said, in part of today's court decision means the CDC's public transportation masking order is not in effect at this time. Therefore, the TSA will not enforce the mask mandate. A handful of airlines, including Alaska, Air, Delta, and United, announced that the masks are officially optional on board their domestic flights. Even Amtrak announced that it wouldn't enforce the mask wearing, suggesting that the Biden administration isn't going to put up much of a fight. Worth remembering, last month the Senate voted 57-40 to repeal the federal travel mask mandate. The huge story was largely buried, and the vote is just a window dressing, considering that it's likely wouldn't have been taken up by the House of Representatives. Meanwhile, in Canada, Quebec Health Ministry tried tweeting its link of last week to update the COVID situation there. Instead, the link went to Pornhub, a video called Femdom Feet Worship. They pulled it down and apologized, and it said that they're looking into how this happened. So hold on, let me make sure that I get this straight here. The Quebec Health Ministry tweeted out a link for you to take a look at the COVID situation there, and it took you to a fetish website that was pornography based. So, do you think the person that made the tweet was looking at this stuff at work? There's just so many questions to ask here.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, Newsweek points out that Elon Musk has nearly 11 times as many Twitter followers as the entire board does combined. Some who have never tweeted at all. It gets worse. Founder Jack Dorsey has a vast majority of the board followers, with more than 6 million of it in his account out of 7.5 million the board members are collectively have. Meanwhile, Musk said Monday that he would no longer pay board members if he takes over. Collectively, they make about $3 million total a year. So there you go. So hold on. So now this gets worse. I mean, it gets worse for them if you start thinking about it. So now if you have a board spot, you are not a board paid member. You know, I have to tell you, I don't know if you've ever taken a look at this, but there are companies out there that will find board members for other companies. And then you get some kind of a fee, an hourly fee, a monthly retainer to be part of it. So I'm wondering how that shit worked out over there at good old Twitterverse. So just something to think about. Anyways, Evan Chebet won the Boston Marathon on Monday, clocking a time of 2 hours, 6 minutes, and 51 seconds. That's the pace nearly of 13 miles an hour, a dead sprint for even the most athletic of our mere mortals, the 2 hours straight. Piers Shafarchi won the women's division, clocking in at 2 hours, 21 minutes, and 1 second. By the way, this year marks 50-year anniversary since women were first included in the race. In 1972, 8 women competed. Yesterday, there were more than 14,000. Yes, 14,000. Also, the New York Times reports that the Boston Athletic Association, which sponsors the marathon, did not allow runners from Russia to compete in solidarity with Ukraine. So there you go. Anyways, let's talk about some other things going on. The prepared study that Science Journal MedRiv validates the antidote concerns about COVID vaccine. Women have experienced drastic changes in their menstrual cycle. 42% of women experience such changes, according to the study. 39% of women of gender-affirming hormones reported that the menstrual bleeding after they're getting their double vaccine, meaning that a female who took the drugs to permanently stop her period, it got in the way. So I don't know, something to think about. So the sarcasm here is why has the administration forced vaccination that can totally invalidate a total essential life-saving gender-affirming care of hormone therapy? Okay, I'm just joking as I say that, but it is a question that it is listed there. And a professor at Ohio State University lost his job in 2018 after he refused to use a student's preferred pronouns. You heard about this a little bit earlier. He since then won a wrongful termination suit, and the First Amendment's grounds that he will receive $400,000 in a settlement coming out of that one. So just something to think about as we are talking. Anyways, I think we're far enough along that it is time to bring in some John Smalls and let him tell us what's going on with the Market Beat.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Tuesday, April 19th, 2022. Equity started the week on uncertain footing, rising early in Monday's session, then falling later in the day. The move comes on the eve of the busiest period of the Q1 earnings reporting season and may foreshadow a lackluster season at best. On a technical basis, Monday's move in the S&P 500 confirms a near-term downtrend and sets the index up for a retest of the 4,200 level. That test could come this week after reports from companies like Johnson & Johnson, Abbott Laboratories, Tesla Motors, and PPG Industries. The risk for the earnings season is the guidance. The market is expecting to see supply chain improvements and margin expansion in the back half of the year, and that may not materialize. Not only is the war in Ukraine straining the supply chain, but widespread lockdowns in China may bring global manufacturing to a standstill. Regardless if the outlook for improvement sours, the market could be in for a deeper correction than it has so far produced. You can get the inside track at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, Johnny Smalls, for that one, letting us know exactly what is going on inside of this lovely world of what is happening. So let's start talking about some other things. GBI says its suspect in a gun shop killing was a customer. Authorities say that a man that was charged with the killing in Coweta County family was a customer at the Grantville gun shop. Liz Kennedy has more information.
A special agent with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation tells the AJC that 21-year-old Jacob Muse had been a lock, stock, and barrel shop customer and purchased at least one gun from the store and fired it on the property gun range. Grantville police arrested Muse at his home in College Park on Friday. He has been charged with 3 counts of murder for the April 8th deaths of 75-year-old Tommy Richard Hawk Sr., his wife Evelyn Hawk, also 75, and their 18-year-old grandson, Luke Hawk. I'm Liz Kennedy.
Okay, thank you, Liz Kennedy, for that information going on. It's kind of, you start wondering about a lot of things as things start happening inside of there, that is for sure. Anyways, an open letter urges mutual respect between church and LGBTQ community. An open letter by Georgians penned by the leaders in varying religions as well as the LGBT community express extreme concern of an ongoing conflict between religious liberty and LGBTQ rights. Rebecca Hubbard reports that the division could be poisoning the attempts at conversations intended to promote a greater understanding.
54 religious and LGBTQ activists signed the open letter, simply stating that LGBTQ rights and religious rights do not have to be in conflict. The letter states, "We are also Americans with a long tradition of figuring out how to get along despite deep differences." The AJC reports the groups acknowledge that changes may not be easy and will certainly require goodwill and mutual accommodation, but it can and must be done. Ultimately, both groups urge all Georgia residents to support public policy, providing protections for LGBTQ persons as well as people and institutions of faith. I'm Rebecca Hubbard.
Okay, thank you, Rebecca, for that one once again. Here we go. So let's talk a little bit more. It's interesting on how that's finally becoming a conversation. It'll be interesting to see how some of these other places start talking about this as well. So we'll see that here in the coming days. A convicted former Chicago cop won't face federal charges. Officer Jason Van Dyke, who was convicted of killing 17-year-old Laquan McDonald in 2014, will not face federal charges. Perry Williams has more information.
McDonald's aunt, Tanisha Hunter, is not pleased with yesterday's news from the U.S. Attorney's Office.
I want to see charges. Like that 3 years was not enough.
Prosecutors say federal law presents a very high bar to secure a conviction against Officer Van Dyke, who was released from prison in February after serving more than 3 years of an 81-month sentence stemming from a state court conviction for second-degree murder and 16 counts of aggravated battery. I'm Perry Williams.
Okay, thank you, Perry, for that one. It's interesting, 3 years for the death. I would love to hear more information about that. That is for sure. It is currently 27 minutes past the top of the hour. You are listening to the Rated R Safety Show. Anyways, murderer vows to get L.A. County DA name tattooed on face. A gang member and convicted murderer is promising to get the name of Los Angeles County District Attorney George Gaxton tattooed on his face as a tribute to Daniel Martinal. Here's some more information.
That's what Luis Hernandez told Fox News in a jailhouse phone call. Hernandez says Gascon is the champ for significantly reducing the charges he was facing. Hernandez is accused of shooting a marijuana delivery person to death during an armed robbery. He was facing sentencing enhancements for being a gang member and committing a murder during an armed robbery, but following one of his controversial policies, Gascon dropped those enhancements. Daniel Martindale, NBC News Radio.
I mean, come on, I understand the homage, but man, do we really want to take it that serious where you want to get somebody's name tattooed on your face? That's something to think about. Anyways, woman slashed in subway station as she tries to stop a mugging. A subway rider was slashed in the leg last night as she tried to stop a mugging at the Midtown station. Noam Layden has more information.
The 36-year-old woman was on the platform at the Herald Square station around 6 last night when she spotted a man trying to steal a purse from a fellow rider. So she tried to stop him, and that's when he pulled out something sharp and slashed her across the leg. The Good Samaritan was rushed to the hospital. The wanted man raced from the scene on foot without the purse. Noam Layden, NBC News Radio, New York.
Okay, thank you for the information. Let's talk about this real quick. New Mexico movie set shooting reported due this week. Santa Fe, New Mexico. New details is expected this week on last year's movie set shooting in New Mexico. Trey Thomas has some more information.
A report about possible workplace safety violations is expected by Thursday. That's the 6-month deadline for citations to be filed under state law. Actor Alec Baldwin insists he never pulled the trigger on a prop gun during rehearsal, but a bullet fired and killed the cinematographer. Several lawsuits have been filed since, and the sheriff is still investigating. I'm Trey Thomas.
So it'll be interesting to see what incident reporting shows inside of there. I'm sure we'll talk more about it as time does come about. Let's talk about this real quick. Couple of things. Coast Guard suspends search for missing cruise passenger. Port Canaveral, the search for missing cruise ship passenger off the Florida coast over the weekend. Take a listen to this one.
The Coast Guard's Jacksonville sector announced late Monday that it has suspended the search for a man who went overboard Saturday on Carnival Cruise Line's Mardi Gras ship. The 43-year-old apparently jumped off the ship about 60 miles from shore. The Coast Guard said it suspended the search after covering over 2,000 square miles of ocean. I'm Trey Thomas.
Okay, thank you, Trey, for that one. Let's continue talking. Many leaving the workforce will do so indefinitely. Millions of Americans who left the labor force last year don't plan to return to workshops or eating out. Let's talk a little bit more. Here's some Mike Bowers.
While scientists are still studying the long-term effects of a COVID infection, results are just coming out about long-term social distancing.
Another day inside, don't have to do a thing. I love you, social distancing.
Millions of Americans who left the workforce last year plan to stay away indefinitely, signaling a trend of long social distancing, which is likely to affect White House and Federal Reserve policy. Their stance is partly due to persistent fears around the pandemic, with the dropouts most likely to be women, those lacking a college degree, and people working in low-paid sectors. I'm Mike Bauer.
Okay, thank you, Mike Bauer, for that one. I think it is time already, as we are 31 minutes past the top of the hour, for us to do what we do around this time.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, it is that main story time. It is that time where we get to hang, bang, and do the things that we do together and talk about, what might be important to come into this episode. And let's talk about this because realistically, the more that we realize this, the more that it should garner more information. I have heard this in so many different versionalities. I have heard this information in so many different kind of ways. I have heard it from the paradigm shift to the knowledge base association to everything else that we want to tie it into. And what are we talking about? We are talking about, listen to me, at least I didn't say twerking about. We are talking about versionalities of safety. We are talking about how these things change. But there's one step in the whole process that we don't normally reference, and this is the most important portion. And what is that? Well, if you saw the title of it, well, it's kind of an easy thing. It's the leap of faith. Think about it for a moment. We go around, for the most part, talking to people about the versionality of safety, a mental shift. We talk about all these things that we would like to see them do. But at no point do we ever understand the leap of faith that it is behind the whole process, around the whole platform. Think about it for a moment. If you take a look at it and go, this is a kind of the bigger portion of it, you will understand where some people will have difficulty seeing your point of view. Because look, the easiest thing to talk about is this. The worst thing that you can do to somebody who trusts you is lie. And the worst thing a liar can do is trust. Think about it real quick. Think about that for a moment, because that bond will be broken not just now, but forever. Regardless of what happens, regardless of how things change, regardless of what people say, that is exactly what will happen. So here's the thing. when we are asking people to take leaps of faith into this new nuance, to this new thing, to this new subject, to this new versionality of something that they may have never heard of, this is what we're expecting. We have to understand that it is a leap of faith. So at any point prior to this, if something has gone wrong inside of how you have had this interaction with people, you know that you are going to already be at a disadvantage. Think about it real quick. Think about at any particular point where you've had to trust somebody who has burned you in the past. How did that go over for you? How did you give any consideration to it? Did you give any consideration to it? And those are the things that we need to talk about. I mean, let's think about it from this particular fashion. You know, when some people have the A-frame roofs and they have the scaffolding on the side of it, or they have the toe boards that they put up, and they might even put some nets on the side of the roof just to have, you know, them being caught. Well, there is a leap of faith that takes place there, that they are believing that it will catch them and nothing will go wrong. The same thing with the people that wash windows. They have the scaffolding that moves up and down, and they believe that nothing will go wrong in regards to that. That's why they are trusting their life to be on it. There's so many different things that you have to think about. Well, you mean you don't have to. You should probably think about, but you should think about in regards to when you're laying out these new platforms, when you're laying out these new ideas to people on how they need to take a look at it, because you are asking them, regardless on how you put it, to have a leap of faith. Because think about this. As we talk day in and day out about the world of safety, there is nothing tangible. There is nothing that they can grab a hold of. There is nothing that they can squeeze. I mean, it is one of those things that it is so driven, as an evangelist would go around and do, about believe in something that you cannot see, believe in something that I will tell you that I have experienced, but you have not. So as you look at this today, and think about this and contemplate how off my rocker I might be when I start talking about leap of faith, how did it happen to you? At what point did that paradigm shift for you? At what point did you look and go, well, that makes a lot of sense? Because look, I know of people that worked for an employer and quit what they were doing to go teach this to people, to go and take their leap of faith. But there was a leap of faith that was involved. Does that fall into your category? Did you give up what you were doing previously to come and do this? I'm not going to call you a disciple of safety because that just sounds wrong. But think about it. You took a leap of faith at some point believing that this was correct. And we could limit it right now to safety as we're talking about. But there's so many other things that I know this can apply to all at the same time. It's an interesting way to take a look at this. But remember, when you're having difficulties with this, essentially you are asking people to take a leap of faith. That's something to chew on for sure, today. Think about it.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Well, you might be like me and heard all these terms and we're not 100% sure on what they meant. Things as mining, blockchain, the Internet of Things. Well, I will tell you, we here at Safety FM have partnered up with a company that will explain this to you and will also have conversations to inform you on how you might have the potential of making passive income by being involved with this. All you need to do is go to safetyfm.com/iHub. They'll discuss blockchain. What exactly is mining? What is cryptocurrency? And what is the Internet of Things? To find out more information, go to safetyfm.com/iHub. That's safetyfm.com/iHub. And don't forget to mention that Jay Allen sent you.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face. And posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not
online, you can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets, and they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, The Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
No pasa, es que ahora verás esta noche. No pasa, ahora lo entenderás. Caliente, caliente, cuidado que te voy a quemar. Caliente, caliente, este ritmo te pone a bailar. Caliente, caliente, cuidado que te voy a quemar. Caliente, caliente, este ritmo te pone a bailar.
La pista no se cuenta sin millonario, solo moverlo diario, bebé. Si lo hacemos estamos.
Okay, there you go. 42 minutes past the top of the hour. This is Looney con Caliente. The song's readily available on Spotify and iTunes. So there you go. Thank you to Looney for allowing us to play this here. Rated R Safety Show. And there you go. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Really do appreciate it. So let's continue talking. Let's continue moving. Let's continue doing everything that we get to do together as we are hanging. Anyways, let me tell you the most important thing that I'm ever going to tell you in my lifetime, and this is the following information right here. Let me tell you about my friends at the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Whether you have struggled with suicide yourself or have lost a loved one, know that you're not alone. Hear about personal experiences from people in your local communities whose lives have been impacted by suicide and depression. To find out more information, all you have to do is call 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255, or text the word TALK to 741-741, or you can go to the website at afsp.org. That is afsp.org. Believe me, you never know when you might need this information. So if you have the opportunity to take a look at it, I would recommend doing so. Also, you can find out how to help out in a local chapter. Just because it might not be something for you could be something to help out others at this current moment in time. Just think about it in that fashion. Anyways, let's continue talking about some of the things that are going on inside of this world of ours. Grandpa, not Grandpa, but Grandpa, a 21-year-old Chihuahua has been named the world's oldest dog. Guinness World Record has confirmed that Toby Keith, who lives in Florida, is the oldest living dog in the world, 21 years old and 100 days as of today. Gisela Shore of Green Acres adopted Toby Keith from a shelter when he was just a few months old. Chihuahuas typically live between 12 and 18 years. The oldest dog on record was an Australian cattle dog named Bluey, who died at the age of 29 years and 5 months back in 1939. A 21-year-old Chihuahua. Now that's what I call a senior. He used to be we used to have a Chihuahua. Trust me, the real hero of the story is the woman who has put up with him for 21 years. And as if they were accurate dog birth records in 1910, the great-grandfather was born around then, and at least that as far as we know. I mean, is there a tracking system of dogs that were born back in the day? I mean, I don't know. Just something to think about. Let's talk about some other things real quick. Unbreak my heart. Scientists say that they have come up with a new technology that results in your first ever cure for heart attack. Researchers at London King's College have identified a similar genetic codes to those used that create COVID vaccines and may apply them towards regenerating hearts damaged from cardiac heart attacks. The key genetic code, known as mRNA, produce proteins that simulate the creation of healthy new cells. The human heart does not have the capability to repair itself on its own following a heart attack. This new approach is being called revolutionary, as so far has been successfully used to regenerate damaged pig hearts. So you know why there's always the use of pigs for heart research? Because it's all that bacon and sausage that causes heart problems in the first place. This is typically known as the story that I would have paid zero attention to before setting an alarm for a 3:30 a.m. I mean, think about that for just one moment.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, we all know one. We just say radio that they called. We all know one. What we can say on the radio is here's what we called. So instead, we are calling them buttheads. So think about this. The one person who is just can't stand, who drives you crazy, which you never had to see them again. Researchers from the University of Georgia asked 400 people to think the biggest butthead, really they said asshole, in their life, and personality traits they said regularly display. They found that most of the people that they discovered to be the biggest assholes are in the middle-aged men. Just to be clear, though, these aren't the only ones who displayed the traits of assholes. The only common traits of assholes: manipulate, aggressive, and entitled. And the side of the middle-aged men, well, they surveyed. The survey found that half of the biggest assholes that came into people's mind were their exes, former bosses, estranged family members. But 1 in 3 people, unfortunately, the biggest assholes they know are still constant presence in their life. This includes co-workers, friends, and even their current romantic partner. Also, to my lovely wife, to whom I'm all 3 of those, my sincerest apology. Well, I do not admit that as soon as we started this story, one person irritating face was impressed upon mind. Now I know how I can erase the sniffling image. So there you go. Just some things to think about as we are hanging out here, doing the things that we get to do together, because it's always fun as we are doing our stuff. So don't worry about that. Anyways, let's start talking about some other things real quick. DJ Slay has died. A New York hip-hop legend passed away on Sunday after 4 months battle of COVID-19. He was only 55 at the time of his passing. I'm still kind of in shock about that story, but it's something that we need to talk about as we are talking about some things that are going on inside of this world. Where else do we want to go? I think we have some other things. The winner for Mega Million ticket for Friday night's drawing was sold in Tennessee. The winner has the option of the $20 million jackpot or $12.1 million cash payout. Tonight's drawing will be for $20 million jackpot or $11.9 million cash payout. So there you go. Should I talk about this? Is this going to be important? I'll just mention it. The axe used in Jack Nicholson's by Jack Nicholson in The Shining is hitting the auction block. Gotta have rock and roll auction. Told Page 6 that it is expected to fetch about $100,000 for it. Bidding begins on Wednesday, April the 20th, so just so you know, for the sake of talking about it. Anyways, let's get into some other things real quick before we get too far away. I think it's time to bring in John Smalls real quick and let him tell you about the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote has been submitted by Melissa. Eleanor Roosevelt said, "It takes as much energy to wish as it does to plan." This is the perfect quote to share for anybody who's making a plan. Whether it's a plan for a new year, a new month, a new week, or even a plan for the day. Remember, you can plot out your plan and follow that plan, or you could just wish for success. Which of those do you think will work better? I had a great manager who used to say, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I didn't like it when he said that to me 20 years ago, but it means something to me now. And guess what? I believe he was right. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quote can be submitted for an upcoming program at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by alasamorgan.com. Maintaining blood-brain barrier integrity may be key to the prevention of brain aging. Nearly 50% of all dementias, including Alzheimer's, begin with the breakdown of the smallest blood vessels in the brain. The breakdown of the blood-brain barrier is intimately connected to the health of the gut barrier. Chronic systematic inflammation induced by bacterial products that leak from the gut into circulation can cause microglia to attack the blood-brain barrier. This means preventing intestinal permeability is paramount for not only gut health, but brain health. And get this, prenatal exposure to high levels of inflammation may result in impaired blood-brain barrier development for life. Some positive influencers of blood-brain barrier integrity include omega-3 consumption, particularly DHA. For additional information on wellness, check out alasamorgan.com.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Okay, there you go. That is some stuff going on inside of the world. 52 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out, doing all the fun stuff that we're getting to do together. Anyways, let's go through some of the other things that are happening inside of the world. Did you know 1 in 3 women remember what their natural hair color is? A poll of women between the ages of 42 to 57 revealed that half of them have been dyeing their hair a different color than there was when they were born, and the average female Gen Xer hasn't seen their natural hair color since 2019. Among those relationships, 32% aren't sure what their partner knows if their real hair color actually is. So there you go. Some things to think about as we are talking. What else do we have going on here today? Let's talk about some whack facts. Contrary to what you may have heard, redheads aren't actually going extinct. Water makes different pouring sounds depending on its temperature. Riding a roller coaster can help you pass a kidney stone, especially if you're seated in the rear car. Don't take my word for that. Ingesting too much nutmeg can be toxic. 2 to 3 teaspoons of raw nutmeg can induce hallucination, convulsion, pain, nausea, paranoia that can last several days. Oh, geez. Men and women who listen to similar music tend to be better communicators and have long-lasting relationships. No wonder none of the people that I've ever dated really like the music I listen to. It explains a lot now. According to a poll, doctors and lawyers are the worst tippers. Oh, that's great to know. Good stuff to be sharing now.
We are now video streaming the Rated R Safety Show. I don't know why our host has a face for radio. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, let's go into It Happened Back on This Day. Back in 2002, my big fat Greek wedding debuts in theaters nationwide. The flick launched the career of several people. Nia Vardalos, who since fizzled. Vardalos was a frustrated actress who couldn't find work, so she wrote her own movie to star in. The movie came out after about Rita Wilson. Her the one-woman show is in Los Angeles. Wilson and her husband Tom Hanks were impressed with the performance that reached out and signed them as producers. The flick was made for only $5 million, but eventually made $240 million. Vardalos also won the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay back during the time. That happened back on this date, back in 2002. We're talking about some birthdays for today. Let's talk about them real quick. Joe Hart turns 35. Maria Sharapova turns 35. Candace Parker, 36. Ali Wong, 40. Hayden Christensen turns 41. Troy Palumo turns 41. Kate Hudson turns 43. James Franco, 44. Joanna Gaines turns 44. Luis Miguel turns 52. Ashley Judd turns 54. Suge Knight turns 57. And Tim Curry turns 76. To be quite honest with you, I wasn't aware that Suge Knight was still alive. Not being a jackass as I'm saying that, just I was not aware. So there you go. Let's talk about this real quick. Let's talk about some days of the year that you can celebrate if you're so inclined to do so. It's National Amaretto Day, National Garlic Day, National Hanging Out Day, National North Dakota Day, National Oklahoma City Booming Commemoration Day. Wow. Could we made that one a little bit shorter? Because I don't think that was possible. So there you go. What else? Here we go. Let me give you the random joke for today. I love my kids no matter what they do, but they do have to do so much more of it. Do they have to do so much more of it? Great question. If you need a phone starter for today, here you go. What do you wish was illegal? If you need something for the water cooler, try this one. Question. This happened more in the last 2 minutes than the entire 19th century. What is it? Picture taking. So there you go. Some things to think about as we are talking. So there you go. So let me tell you a couple of things real quick before I get out of here. At the top of the hour, I will be going over to radiobig.fm. If you want to come over there and hang out with me, you're more than welcome on doing so. We play music. We do some stuff over there that's slightly different than this show real quick. Talk about the world of entertainment and all that kind of fun stuff. If you hang out here and you stay on Safety FM, no problem whatsoever. That will get you into the next sequence of the next safety speaker that will be talking about what is going on inside of the world of safety from their point of view. So you're more than welcome on hanging out there as well. The other portion, before I get too far away from it, this is my last show for this week. I will be gone starting later today. So there you go. I will be gone. Outsee. I will be back, hopefully, God willing, on Monday to come and hang out. I have asked several people to come out and take over for the show, but they feel pressured that it is too much to do so, which I don't think it is, but hey, so just so you know, I will not be here tomorrow, Thursday, or Friday. We can do a best of, we can do a rerun show, but to be quite honest with you, I just don't feel that that's the right thing to do. So just want you to be aware that I will not be here tomorrow, Thursday, or Friday. So there you go. Like I said, I will be back on Monday. So there you go. Going back to the Roots sequence, just for information purposes right there. So with that being said, that's what I have going on. So there you go. Well, anyways, thank you for taking a listen. Thank you for hanging out this week with me, and I will be back hopefully next week. If I can leave you with a deep thought, I would love to leave you with this one as we have some time apart. So it's going to sound like this. A team is not a group of people who work together. A team is a group of people who trust each other. You see how it comes all back down to finagle on a giant bow together? Seriously, think about that for a moment. Think about it. It all ties in together. Anyways, thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener. Without you, we cannot do what we do around here. Believe me, all the other shows will still continue to go on as normal, so you don't have to worry about that, and we will go from there. So, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye. See you next week.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
No voy a negarte, no. La primera vez que tú me la hiciste, baby, quería matarme. Yeah. Pero ahora no. El problema fue amarte, yeah. Sabiendo que no sientes nada y no sabes querer. No sabes querer. Esta es mi despedida. Vete con el